Hi, everybody, and welcome back to WatchHaus. We are here after our Halloween episode. These guys have finally returned to, from the underworld. I've missed them. But anyways, as we talk about today, there's been so many changes coming to the Overwatch League, whether it be players or even the schedule overall. So we have a lot to talk about tonight. But first, we'd like to just have everyone reset their watches and let's share what we've been up to earlier this week. So Goopy, what do you want to share from this past week?
So this past week has been a really cool one. So I've been working on a couple interviews that I finally got to get out that I'm really excited about. Fisher, one of my favorite players from Team Denmark. I got to do an interview with him where he kind of just gave his overall story, just where he got started in gaming, just kind of his grind and moving up and having that run with Team Denmark. And then he's now a free agent, so if you're looking for a great DPS player, sign Fisher, by the way. And then I got to interview Cersei. He's like myself, he's a console player who went to PC, and he uses a hybrid setup with like a nunchuck PS nav controller on the left hand and then mouse on the right hand. Excuse me. And he ended up getting to rank 1 in the US servers. Wow. Has just been grinding, doing really good on ladder. I think he's currently trialing for a few contenders teams, so kind of keep an eye on him as well. But those were just two really cool interviews I got to do this past week that I was super stoked about. So yeah.
And for those of you in the chat, I hope you haven't used your Twitch Prime subs just yet, because one of the common themes we've had is Goopy is the #1 Team Denmark fan in the world. And Goopy, I'll let you just take it away. What's going to happen if they sub tonight?
Well, if we can get 10 subs tonight, so I'm kind of wearing a jersey. It was my birthday, and my wife got me like an Outlaws shirt, but it doesn't have a player, as you can see. So I'd really like to get a player jersey. Team Denmark jerseys just went on sale, and so I figured, why not give the people what they want? So if we can get 10 subs, I will buy a Team Denmark jersey right here for Fisher, of course, because I just interviewed him, and he's awesome. So that's the deal.
Let's make it happen. It's finally time for #GetGoopy a jersey. Like, this could actually happen tonight.
Real deal.
So Thibble, I know it's hard to compete with all of that Denmark hype up there, but what have you been up to this past week?
My news is a little more delayed. I spent this weekend being pushed around in mosh pits and getting sick, which is great. But I got to see like lots of cool bands and stuff, which isn't anything Overwatch related at all. I hit the ground running yesterday with an interview with Zachary from Team USA /Fusion Uni / wherever he's going. He's going somewhere. I don't know where. He wouldn't tell me. But he did tell me a bunch of other cool stuff about his life and his gameplay and how he just approaches the game. He's okay with pineapple on pizza. He has a not particularly intense but somewhat involved hair care regimen. These are all things that you can find out later in the week when I get to transcribing and publishing this interview. So stay tuned, because that's going to be pretty cool. I'm looking for a few more as well here in the next week or two. It's kind of a lull period, a good time to go for interviews. I'll be looking for some. If you have suggestions, of course, tweet me or whatever, however you get to me. And then I'm also doing Contenders Trials recaps, because that's going on still right now, North America and Europe and a bunch of other regions, but I can only cover so many because I have school. So Contenders Trials stuff, interviews, pineapple on pizza, and I'm sick. I have a large mug of orange juice, and I am ready to go.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That sucks. But we're lucky to have you anyways. But this week has been pretty busy for me as well. Busy for all of us, actually. This past Thursday, we had quite the paintball competition. Remember, we're all going to play Junkenstein's Revenge on stream. We're going to record it for you all. I will be breaking out the Genji for all of you to enjoy. What are you guys playing again?
Probably Torb.
Torb.
We'll see who gets Torb.
It'll be a battle for Torb.
All right, so it's good.
I think my pick was technically McCree.
Okay.
So y'all can be ready for that. You buckaroos or whatever. Hat tip. I don't play McCree. I'm a tank main, but I'll make it work.
We'll make it work, but we also were lucky enough to have 4 great Ana players compete in Ana paintball, to have the privilege or just misfortune of being our Ana during Junkenstein's Revenge. So congratulations to Apron. Really impressive play coming in from everyone, though. I think it was almost a a 3-way tie coming into the last 30 seconds of On a Paintball. So really intense.
Yeah, it was good.
And so you've got that to look forward to. Also, I have been hosting and casting. So next Monday, I will be casting the grand finals of the Not for Normies tournament. So please come and watch that. That'll be really fun. But speaking of fun, I mean, this week has been absolutely exciting. So much news coming in, especially for me. I was excited to hear about the new Overwatch League schedule. There's just a kind of a restructuring going on. Was there anything, Goopy, that really stood out to you for this schedule?
It seems like Blizzard just kind of listened to what the fans were saying, which is really cool. It seemed like, at the end of last season, one of the biggest issues that plagued the league, for those who may not have followed as closely, was player burnout. So basically players playing too many games each week and getting to the point where there were mental health issues. We had players dropping out of the league. We had a whole variety of issues linked to player burnout. So what they're looking to do is, for that, they're having players basically play less games per week. So you'll either play 2 games a week, 1 or 0. So some weeks you'll have a bye week. And then there's also a larger break in the middle, which is a huge deal. Moving the All-Star game from the end to the middle and giving kind of an extended break there. So just those kind of that care for mental health, I think, is a really cool thing the league's doing, and understanding that this league's going to last, that's going to have to be a priority. So that's just my highlight.
And Thibble, I remember there was a lot highlighted regarding team schedules during last year's season. Like, for example, the Shanghai Dragons practicing for, over 12 hours a day. And of course they did. Yeah, of course they had their 0-40 season. What are some benefits to only having 1 match a week or even a bye week?
It's not necessarily as restful as some might think. But even not being on stage or having to worry about a game to prep is pretty huge. It's going to really boil down to, for these teams, whether or not they decide we're going to take, 2 or 3 days off, just relax, recharge, not worry too much. Or if these guys go, oh, sweet, these are 7 extra days to practice all day, which will happen no matter what people say. It will happen. There will be teams that are like, we lost. We're losing. You don't get days off, which sucks. But at least there's the potential, and that's huge. The stage breaks will be longer. There will be bye weeks. There will be weeks where you only have 1 game to prep for, which means you're getting more refined strategies per map and per team matchup. The teams are gelling more together. They have more time with their coaches, for their coaches to help them improve on their gameplay. Hopefully means fewer mistakes, more even matches, and no 0 and 28 seasons, because there are only going to be 28 games this season. It's also really cool that they're slotting the All-Star game right in between stages 2 and 3. So instead of like a month off and then the All-Star game and then another month off and then grand finals, it's right there. It's right there next to it. So teams will have a chance to let off some steam there. Hopefully the Overwatch League, PR guys, will keep us. They'll up their advertisement push in that area, because I know tons of people were like, I forgot the All-Star game was happening. So with all of that, they will need to step up in slightly different ways. But overall, this is going to be a huge improvement, and I'm really excited.
And Goopy, do you think, so we have 8 new teams, so a total of 20. With the teams playing less, do you think that we'll still have an opportunity to get to know all of these new players, to get to know the personalities of the teams? And past discussions, we've both shared our love for Houston from all of the off time that they had, which now they'll have more of. But will that extend to other teams as well?
Yeah, I think ideally that would be the case. Hopefully, maybe if a team, for example, has a bye week 1 week, that can give them a chance to, if they're a closer local team, to possibly even travel home that week. We saw a lot of traveling happen in between stages, teams feeling like they were rushed to just all go, across the country for 1 week or something. But maybe this will allow that to be a little bit more throughout the season, a little bit more casual. But I think in the end, we'll get to see more player personality through that. So I think it'll be a good thing for that in the end, for getting to know players and getting to know teams more in depth.
Guys, we got a sub.
Oh.
You got 1 sub? There's
9 more.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Oh my gosh. I think I have my Twitch Prime up ready, actually. I'll have to figure that out. But But first of all, I really do want to talk about also the playoffs. So there will be 8 teams in this year's playoffs. There were 6 last year, but the way that they're going to come up with those final 2 spots is they are doing, I believe it's a sudden death tournament for the 7th.
Yeah. Teams like 4 or 5 through 12, which is pretty cool. And it's just like an extra round of playoff action for us, which is great. And for them, which is stressful, but ultimately a second chance to get into playoffs. So cool.
If it were up to you, Goopy, where would you want the finals to be? They were in New York last year. Are they going to be there again, do you hope?
Currently, right now, I'm really hoping the finals are in Waco, Texas. There's a really non-existent esports scene here, but that's where I am. Just kidding. I think it'd be cool to have it be international. The league is growing and we want to have an international presence. I think it'd be really cool to see it possibly even in China. It would make it nearly impossible for me to go to it at that point, but I think that would kind of show, the Chinese fans like, hey, we do care about you. We're going to have the grand finals in your country because you matter to us that much. So as far as the league communicating something like that, I think that could be the best thing. But selfishly, I would love it in Waco. That'd be my ideal, if I could pick. But
yeah, I mean that would be absolutely phenomenal to see. I think the highest viewership does come from China, I believe. By a lot, yes, right? Yeah. Very much. So, and I do know that Vowels, our friend Vowels, would really love that as well. But speaking of Vowels, who is from the United Kingdom, we do have some roster changes coming in the Overwatch League, including the London Spitfires. So, Vibble, what's been some of the acquisitions or roster changes that have caught your eye this week?
Well, I'm never off of Twitter, so I've been seeing them all. I think the big one for me will probably be the Florida Mayhem's triple signing, which was one of the first that we saw this week. They signed BQB, Chris, and Swan. BQB coming over from X6, Chris coming over from Meta Athena, I believe, and Swan coming over from NRG. Swan was main tank, Chris was main support, BQB was DPS. So real cute of the Florida Mayhem to say, oh yeah, we're not doing an all Korean roster. We've got Tvik over there. And the rest of the guys are all Korean because that's all they've signed so far. Very interesting to see if they'll actually sign anybody besides Tvik that isn't Korean. But even so, the roster that they're putting together is impressive. These guys are from some of the more prolific contenders level teams that we've seen in the post-Owl era. And they've all impressed. Swan is a really good main tank and will definitely compete with Awesome Guy, who was fairly middle of the pack. On main support, Chris is definitely a good pickup. He's one of the older names in the game. He's been playing for Meta Athena since Meta Athena became Meta Athena. And I don't know a whole lot about BQB, but anybody from X6 is all right in my book because they kick butt. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these pickups help in Florida.
Do they have a chance to make the playoffs, do you think, with this roster?
No, goodness. Well, we don't know. There's no way to tell. I haven't even seen a scrim or anybody talking about a scrim, and it's way too early to tell. They're certainly hoping that an all-Korean plus Tvik roster will get them farther than they got before, and to that I can say the bar is real low. So it'll certainly be better for them, but playoffs, I have no idea. It's way too soon.
Do you think they will trade Tvik? Do you think that's what this is leading up to? Maybe Tvik going to Paris to join the European team? What do you think? Or do you think he's going to stay? If you had to guess.
I think if he goes anywhere, he goes to Paris, maybe Atlanta. It's hard to tell the culture that these teams are quite trying to establish yet. Many are basing their strategies off of the championship teams. They want a roster like London or they want a roster like Philly. A great many teams are going for some sort of mix and hoping that works. Will it? No idea. Highly dependent on your coaches, highly dependent on your management staff. To be fair, Florida signing Bare Hands was huge.
Yeah.
He's the reason NYXL was put together the way NYXL was put together. He and Pavane made something incredible. If he can continue that in Florida, yes, this is a playoff team. I don't know. We just don't know. Tvik going to Paris would be cool. I don't know what they're looking for. I've heard plenty about them signing people that were from Eagle Gaming, but then those guys are all playing for the Copenhagen Flames right now. I don't know. It's way too, like I said, it's way too early, unless you're Michael, I guess, to know where anybody's going. So,
as he sips his orange juice. Goopy, do you think that London has made a good pickup in terms of guard, who is now heading over to the Spitfire?
Yeah, so this was announced only about, I think it was like 20 hours after Closer got traded to Dallas.
Yeah.
Not even a full day went by. So obviously they play different positions. So guard is he's a 19-year-old DPS player. He's mainly Sombra Tracer, from what I've been able to tell. And he was with Element Mystic for the past year. So Element Mystic as a team got third to Runaway and Gyeongju Pandera and Korean contenders last year. It's a really good team. I think a lot of the other players are going to end up on possibly Shanghai. There's been a lot of rumors, but nothing confirmed about those other players, so we'll just have to see. But I think this is a great pickup. I think Birdring and Prophet are a solid DPS duo, as solid as you're going to get in the league. Obviously, Prophet doesn't need any help on the Tracer, but he could be a good guard, could be a good Sombra player to come in and sub in and out on those maps, depending on where the meta goes. He may have also been working on some things that we haven't seen, but kind of the raging question for me with London is, will they kind of be the London of stage 1 and 4 and have this core that they play each week, win all their games, and are dominant, or will they be stage 2 and 3 London, who subbed a ton of people in and out, but were able and lost some games.
Yeah.
But we're also able to have this endurance that pushed them to the playoffs. Arguably, London being the way they were in stages 2 and 3 contributed to them winning the championship. I mean, it kept those top players rested. Who knows what was going on behind the scenes, but it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out this season with them as they build this team around the core that won. Will these other guys even get a shot to play, or kind of? I'm not really sure how it'll play out. So it'll just be an interesting thing to watch, I think, as they build this new team.
And they already have a strong tank line, I would say. So it's going to be interesting to see where guard fits into that roster. But speaking of London, once again, Closer, of course, is kind of the trade that everyone has been talking about the most, I would say. Him going over to the Dallas Fuel as a support player, especially after Chips Hyen was released from the Fuel, is a very necessary pickup. So now for the Fuel, you'll have Harry Hook, you'll have Unco, and Closer. So those three will be, well, most likely Harry Hook and Closer will be competing for time. And I would say Closer has a stronger Lucio than Harry Hook, but I'm curious to see if language-wise, what if that plays an impact in whether or not Harry starts over Closer. So I'll be curious to see what that roster also keeps churning out. They've been probably hyping up their trades more than almost any other team on Twitter so far. So lots of side-eye emotes, but that was interesting to me. But a team that really has taken the heart of so many Overwatch fans is Runaway. And everyone has just been so worried that they'll be split up. Where are they going to go? What's in store for Runaway? And we finally have some news regarding that.
I got you on this one.
Yeah.
So Flowervin made an announcement, and props as always to Garabchund for translating, because she's amazing, and without her we would have nothing. Basically, there were rumors saying that Runaway as an organization and Vancouver, or whatever team they were going to, most people assume it's Vancouver, were having troubles finalizing their transfer fees and their player salaries as a whole, right? Lots of talk about Vancouver wanted all of Runaway, but they were asking for $3 million, and now they're not so sure because that's $3 million and all this stuff. Flowervin, Runaway's manager, has since come out a number of times to kind of put those rumors down, or at least temper them. We were not asking for $3 bajillion. The transfer fees were taken care of in September. We haven't had to worry about those in ages. We just want to make sure, and I just want to make sure as their general manager, that these players rather are taken care of. And now they are. She obviously cannot announce where people are going or in what combinations or whatever, but all of the current runaway roster, as far as we're aware, I believe, have been signed to an Overwatch League team or teams, which is well deserved. No idea where they're going or who's going where or whatever, but the fact that they're moving up is good, is great. It speaks volumes of what Flowervin was able to put together basically on her own. Runner, her husband and original owner of Runaway, is currently doing his mandated military service in South Korea, as everybody has to do. So she has put this thing on her back and has figured it out. She's one of the best general managers out there right now. And if she hadn't specifically pledged to keep Runaway as a brand going for her husband, she no doubt would have been picked up alongside her players to the Overwatch League. So cool that she's sticking around to make sure that Contenders continues growing and that brand sticks around, because it's one of the most successful brands in Overwatch history. So it'll be really interesting to see where those players end up. Again, most people think Vancouver, and that's fine. I don't care where they go so long as they're happy. So big news there. Props to Flowervin. Props to Runaway as an organization and those players, because they made it, as far as we know, assuming nothing blows up in their face. So good job.
So just really kind of a tangent. I remember you mentioning the military service, and there has been a lot of talk about players, whether it be in, I suppose, traditional sports or even in esports, being able to forego that military service. And a way that South Korean men can do so is by achieving a gold medal. So the Asian Games were couple months ago, maybe one or two, and there was a huge controversy and spotlight surrounding a Tottenham Hotspur player named Son Heung-min. And for him, thankfully, South Korea ended up winning a gold medal in the Asian Games. He was able to continue his career with Tottenham, being able to pursue his soccer career. So a lot of attention has been given to the Asian Games because they used video games, esports, as a show match. Those who won were not going to receive military exemption. However, it's something to kind of look forward to in the future, as will the Asian Games ultimately instate esports as an official event, and will South Korean male participants will they be able to revoke their military service if they are triumphant in those games? And of course, then if you're thinking about gold medal Olympic Games, there's been so many discussions this past summer. I believe Houston Outlaws player Jake, who has been at every Olympic conversation, went to Argentina for Youth Olympics, talking once again about esports schedules compared to traditional sports schedules. So there's a lot of conversation going on. However, the current IOC president, I think his name is Thomas Bach, says that esports currently they don't align with Olympic values. So that's something to keep an eye on in the future. Something that I'm personally pretty excited about, pretty passionate about, and that is my tangent for the night. But
I remember hearing a lot about that too amongst the Korean Overwatch community. Lots of players have used Apex, for example, as an excuse to delay at least their military service. I know Jaehong and a number of others, Sabiolwi as well, have already gotten out of the way and don't have to worry. But for the younger generation, it's going to become a problem, provided this takes off. You know, right. if they're in the Overwatch League for 3 or 5 years or whatever and then quit, they can, they'll be in their early 20s and they'll go do their military service as normal. But if this sticks around and the players stick around, that'll be a thing to look at here in the future. What's going to happen to these guys and these teams when they have to ship off and do their duty to their country? It's not something that we as Americans really have to deal with too much. There have been a couple traditional sports examples of post 9/11 Cardinals player signed up, I think the Army, but don't shoot me if I'm wrong here. And Patrick Tillman. Patrick? I don't know his first name. Tillman. he was deployed to Afghanistan and died in the line of duty, and like that's the reality of war. So it's something that the Overwatch League also will not escape, which is going to be a very interesting conversation to have in the next few years.
So we've talked a lot about player acquisitions, moving, but changes are also happening not only in the Overwatch League, but in the game itself. So we don't have any exact information just yet, but long story short, I introduced my parents to Overwatch, right? And they got really hooked on it, and their favorite hero of all is who they call Sir Hog. Sir Hog, Roadhog, they love him so much, is getting a rework on the PTR, most likely coming out this week. Goopy, why do you think Roadhog has needed this rework?
It just seems like to me Roadhog hasn't really, I don't know if he's been a very viable character since like early Apex. I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but I think he's just kind of been this niche accessory character for a long time. You play him on Ilios well with Orisa just to get environmental kills, things like that. It's just he's in some poke comps, but he just needs a change where he can be used more consistently. It's similar to changes with Torb that just happened. It may need to be pretty radical. I don't know if Roadhog is quite as low as the level that Torb was at before his change, but essentially he just needs to be brought up to where all the other tanks are right now, which is a pretty high level. I'd say all the tanks are really good except for Roadhog right now, personally. But
yeah, I'm not sure what they're going to change exactly. Past changes have been his, I suppose his, what's the word? His spread, the spread of his bullets.
Yeah. They've changed the damage fall off on the right click. They've changed the spread of his left and right click.
Yeah.
They've extended the cooldown of his hook. They've reduced the amount of total damage the hook deals, eliminating his standard one-shot combo that everybody hated in seasons 1 through like 8. They did away with the movement speed reduction of his breather, and they've changed that to a 50% damage reduction while taking his breather. I believe that's all the changes we've seen for Roadhog ever. And the fire rate and the magazine size. Thank you, Dingo Baby, in Twitch chat. They changed that to 5 in his 5 shots in the magazine, and they shoot faster.
Nice. So he's already gotten a lot of changes, but what's kind of getting me excited about this next change is the only thing we really know is that there's animation changes. So there's something really new coming to this character. Goopy, you've brought out some of the most creative things I've ever seen on the show. What could possibly happen to Roadhog?
So I'm going to pull here from last week. We did our monster mashes, and I talked about the scariest mash in the world would be Roadhog and Pharah because it's when pigs fly. It's a dream. So I don't think it's quite that far. I think his hook has to stay. I think it's just too quintessential Roadhog. I don't think they'll take that away, but I think he could deploy a little, like if you play Fortnite, like a jump pad that could allow him to like be mobile, like a big trampoline for Roadhog, where he could throw it down and maybe it gets like 3 or 4 uses and other players can jump up to high ground with it. Just some like escape mobility, I think, is key for Roadhog. He just soaks so much damage and just gets killed in fights so easily that that would be. I think it's either going to be escape or extra damage. So I'm going to go for the escape route here and say he can fly a little bit.
My assumption is Roadhog saw Wrecking Ball show up and saw him do the little pile driver thing, and he looked down at his big old belly and he was like, I could do that. So he's just going to belly flop from the high ground and just knock people around, and it'll make really cool like boing noise when he lands on the ground. I think that'll be great. Yeah. Hire me, Blizzard, please.
That would be incredible, honestly. Oh my god.
So out of all of Roadhog's abilities, I feel like you have to keep a breather. He has no armor. That's a really good tool. You have to have the hook. It's too iconic. His ultimate, I think, is the thing that could change the most. You can get great worth, but I feel like, all right, let's be real. I'm not at Overwatch League level. I don't get a lot of worth out of Whole Hog, unless I'm in like this really small quarter, and then I get lucky. But anyways, I think his ultimate is going to be reworked somehow. That's my guess. I hope it has something to do with Pachimari dolls. We know his little secret friend emote. It's the cutest thing. It's so sweet.
Let me go get something. I'll be right back.
Oh my gosh, please tell me you have one.
Maybe he spawns them. Maybe he spawns a bunch of little dolls.
They do his work or something.
Oh, incredible.
I mean, something tells me that might be too far-fetched for me to think, but gosh, maybe something. What has he done in his comics? So he protects.
I have no idea.
It's really hard.
It's all you, dog. I don't speak this at all.
No, I mean, for all of you out there, I am such a lore fiend. I could talk about it all day, but let's see what Thibble has just arrived.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?
I don't know. Oh, what is that little guy? Oh!
It's a
Snorkel
scuba.
Mari. Yeah, he's great. I bought him at Blizzard Arena. They had the vampire one and the like little Chinese lantern one and one with heart eyes. It was pretty cool, but I of course bought Snorkel Mari, the best.
Can you do it one more time?
Snorkel Mari.
Oh my gosh. All right. I hope that's his new ultimate. I really hope so.
A bunch of Snorkel Maris.
He just throws them out like he's really been taking notes from Hammond, and he's just like, oh.
I would love that. Oh my gosh.
Have you guys played the Smash Bros. Like Melee? I don't know, Smash Bros. Melee or Ultimate, where Wario's ult, I think he like farts a bunch or something and runs around and does a lot of craziness. I could do something really foul like that with Roadhog. Something.
I'm gonna stop you right there, Chief, because that ain't it.
What? Is that not it?
Mako is more subtle than that. You hear his voice lines. He's like, welcome to the apocalypse. He's actually very intelligent. His comic, he just showed so much like kind of philosophical depth to his. I mean,
he's far too upstanding a citizen to resort to such base measures as flatulence on the battlefield.
Yeah, Thibble's my translator tonight.
Yeah, I got the words for you. Don't worry.
Thank you. I need them. But speaking of big words, there are some really big events coming up with Overwatch League teams, and there's been really great content. I remember there's a California Cup going on soon, which is between the not London Spitfire, excuse me, the LA Valiant and the San Francisco Shock. And to hype it up, they've been playing Jenga. They've been having a spelling bee. So the team's definitely struggled with that. But I'm excited for California Cup. Brennan Sideshow will be casting. Jamerson is going to be hosting. I'm so happy for him. Who's going to win though? Could be out of LA Valiant or San Francisco.
God, it's tough. I'm super hyped for San Francisco right now.
Really?
I think they are going to be like a top 5 team next year, which is a whole nother tangent. But Valiant has the track record, but I think San Francisco could really do something this year. I'm also going to link an article that shows everything so far by Felipe from the Game Haus in the chat. Just FYI, so
nice.
Know. It's there.
Yeah.
It's cool. So check it out.
We had a lot of articles talking about the California Cup over on thegamehaus.com/Overwatch. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting event to see. It's really cool to look at like off-season tournaments where the guys don't take it that seriously and they play Jenga apparently and all that stuff. And San Francisco have been making some huge moves. I interviewed Krusty long ago and far away, and he said he had some big plans. So looking to see what the Shock have turned out of those plans is going to be pretty cool. Plus, you get to see Rascal again. He's a nice guy.
Oh, that's right.
Ooh, that's true.
Haven't seen him in a while since the Fuel ruined his dreams. And I'm a Fuel fan, so I can say that. Don't yell at me.
Sure.
But yeah, he'll be back. Yay! It's gonna be great. Yeah, it should be fun. The team, they can just have fun with it. It's just a show match. You know, people take normal games very seriously.
Right.
But the moment they don't have to, they take that opportunity and they run with it. Torp hammers everywhere.
Oh yeah,
all that stuff.
What was it that Saviolby said during All-Star Game? Like, no preparation, no plan.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No.
His keyboard on his lap.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the whole time it was just like.
It was about whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Basically.
But yeah, that's true. I was taking this. You know me. I'm a little uptight. I take things a little seriously. So I was going to be like, oh yeah, Valiant are absolutely going to crush San Francisco. I have faith. I know. I'm trying. One more squeak from the Pachimari and I'll be good. Okay, I'm good. All right, so so there's a California Cup for the show match for those two teams, and then we're going to have the Gilded Gala, which has also been written about by some of our Game Haus colleagues, and that's going to be between London Spitfire and Goopy's favorite team, Houston Outlaws. So, you excited for that one?
I am. I mean, it's kind of like what we've been talking about. It's just gonna be fun. I think they're doing like some 1v1s, some mystery heroes, just like some, I don't know, just fun games. And so this is just, I don't know, this is prime Outlaws for me. I love seeing them kind of cut loose and just be who they are personality wise. So yeah, I'm super excited. And this is just like one of the most intense rivalries in the Overwatch League, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so it's cool to see them do this event together. Like it kind of blew my mind when these were the two teams. I don't know if they're gonna like play up the rivalry or that Houston has beat them every time and all this, kind of stuff. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of take they run with it on. So
I hope they do that. I mean, that was so fun. That was the only source of joy sometimes we had as Houston fans. But
yeah,
I asked him about that too in his interview that I had with him that we'll link here somewhere. I was like, what's like the best thing from season 1 that you want to carry into season 2? And he's like, Spitfire never beat us and they won the championship. So like math, the Outlaws are the best team in the league. I was like, hey, I won't disagree with you. Sure. Fine.
Yeah.
It's a cool rivalry.
Yeah, if it's head to head over map differential, I mean, just give it to Houston. I mean, it's head to head champs of the world. So.
But a home field advantage for the Spitfire.
That's true.
One they've never had before in any way ever. Yeah, that's going to be big. Lots of all the cheeky Nando's boys are going to head on down to the gala.
So good.
Yeah, they'll be wearing their puff synth jackets and Adidas. I don't know British stereotypes, man.
I lived in the UK. Like these.
Then educate me.
Well, I mean, yeah. When I lived in the southern part of the UK, and then I also lived in Oxford for a little bit. But I mean, my favorite thing was Nando's. Like real Brits might say it's not as good as the other peri peri chicken, but I loved it. Wells was. Have you seen the movie Hot Fuzz?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I lived in that town.
Oh.
Fun fact of the day. So
Wow.
I'm hoping some of my friends will be able to go to London, and my sister's actually in lots of UK connections here. So I'm really excited to see this. Unfortunately, my sister does not like Overwatch as much as I do, but hopefully her boyfriend can convince her to make an appearance and get some pictures for me.
Did you find anything out about them killers then? Hot Fuzz reference.
I know.
It was too deep for me.
Everybody laugh.
Sorry. I
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
That's
if you couldn't guess.
Wow.
Well, they will be coming back to Houston too, though, so that'll be just as fun to see.
When they make it back to the States, they're dead to me because Dallas. But while they're over there fighting the Spitfire,
Up the ante, brother.
No, their new Twitter hashtag, I believe, is just yeehaw.
It's just yeehaw.
Trust me on this.
I'm gonna trust you. If Thibault says it must be true. It's my motto.
That's one way to live your life, Goopy.
That's a dangerous thing to think. Please don't anybody think that.
I've been doing great so far. I'm doing good.
Let's test all of our opinions. So we've been talking about Houston versus London. Both of those teams have pretty good tanks, I have to say.
Segue.
I know, I'm trying really hard.
Yeah.
But honestly, the tanks on Houston had such a redeeming factor for me throughout the season. I was so thankful that we had Muma and Coolman and Spree, just brilliant, and Fact Fiction, who is unfortunately not an outlaw anymore. But
Rip.
As we go into this meta, we have been seeing a lot of tank play being super important, especially having our new hero, Hammond Wrecking Ball, being the most recent addition to the entire roster. So the three of us decided that we would try to come up with who we think are the best two tanks in conjunction with, Pachimari.
Wow.
Sorry, carry on.
Oh gosh. Anyways, who the best two tanks are in conjunction with one another. So, Goopy, who do you think are the best two tanks right now in Overwatch?
So I just linked the article that kind of inspired this, by the way. David Grove from the Game Haus wrote an article. He's doing dynamic tank duos throughout the league and talking about players. So we're talking about heroes. So for me, my two tank players, so it's tough because I still think the dive meta is good. I think with Wrecking Ball, it got like this revitalization that we weren't expecting. Like we thought we were kind of going away from dive, and then Wrecking Ball comes back in, and we might be going back to it. So I think the two best tanks combined would be Wrecking Ball and Winston. So to me, if a Winston player can give you the shot calling, there's not a lot of mechanical ability required. You're just kind of, I mean, your positioning and your jumping are important, but you're not having to aim and focus on that as much. So you can shot call, do those sorts of things. Winston's great at initiating and seeing fights that way. Wrecking Ball can do a ton of damage, requires a little bit more mechanical still, but can still be so mobile. Can swing in Tarzan style onto a point, crash down like Roadhog will hopefully be able to do soon, and just cause mayhem and cause chaos with Winston in there too. So if I were to do two in tandem, these would be my two. I think the most interesting tank right now is Orisa, but that's a conversation for another day. Orisa's great. But Wrecking Ball, Winston, MVPs to me.
I love Orisa too. I think I'm so excited for her new work. Well, we're gonna have to talk about that, but first I want to share who I think are the best tanks together. So when I took this question, I was thinking, well, yes, you're thinking about the pros, of course, too, but I also want to think on from bronze to grandmaster. Who do you think is the safest tank duo? So I went with the pretty traditional pairing of Reinhardt and Zarya. So I mean, it's pretty logical. It's pretty straightforward. Not as exciting, unfortunately, as Wrecking Ball and Winston. However, I mean, it's just the synergy is so obvious between these two. Having the Earth Shatter and the Graviton Surge, I think those two ultimates are some of the most game-changing in matches. Especially if you're able to get an Earth Shatter first, then your Zarya comes in with the Graviton Surge. You're able to charge another Earth Shatter just by swinging and charging into that entire Graviton. There's just so many different ways for tanks to work together, especially if your Zarya has such a high awareness against Wrecking Balls and Doomfist, being able to put the bubble on Reinhardt, who's such a huge target. It's just logic, guys. I mean, those two are the best together, and those are the tanks that I play the best. So I like those two.
They're the best because I like them, and that's
yes.
fine. Is it my turn? Do I get to?
I mean, sure.
You don't have to. I get it. You don't want
to.
Sure.
Yeah.
God. Now you'll let me talk. Okay. My best duo is actually a trio, which is going to ruin Rob's day. Sorry. It's Ryan and then the dive tanks with Winston and Diva. Because right now, triple tank compositions are really good. And Lucio isn't really bad right now like he kind of was for a little bit. And like high mobility, high AoE healing is very strong right now. So here's what Ryan plus dive tanks can do. Make people pee their pants. Ooh, nice. Yeah, you got sort of, yeah, okay. And a Wrecking Ball can be swapped here for the Winston as shown in the graphic. And the Diva is also there too, because Diva's never not been in a tank lineup, really. Shout out for the Prime sub over there, by the way.
Hey, Jesse.
You just run. You just run right at their face. Right at their big, dumb, retreating faces until they die. Like, I am in plat, so that is exactly my mindset when I'm playing in a game. I run into people's faces until they die or I do. And those three tanks are the best at making that happen for me, so that I don't die and they do instead. When I play Ryan Zarya, I have to like coordinate and talk and not press shift all the time. And that's just not my style. You know, I'm not that kind of guy. I'm the kind of guy who says, no, I want you to die, but not me. I don't want to die. So that's why I chose that comp, because I can roll faces with it and get gold elims all the time and play the game and the cards, and everybody votes for me and I get extra XP. Yeah, this has been your foray into the mind of a plat Reinhardt main. Thank you. Good night.
Every tank's dream, though, really. Every tank's dream is
That's true.
to be able to achieve the things that DPS do. We just want some love.
Because the Reinhardt is almost an afterthought in this comp, which is so strange, right? Everybody's used to like, oh, that's a big blue rectangle over there. I'm going to go stand behind it or kill whoever's holding it. But when a Winston and a Diva run in and start tickling you in the back, suddenly you have to deal with them first before they get your Zen or your Anna or whoever. And then the Reinhardt is still there. He didn't go anywhere, and he's still got a very large hammer and some rockets on his back. And that's what I like.
There he is.
Yeah, I like that. Like what she did. So yeah, that's my comp. Ryan and dive tanks or wrecking ball.
That sounds pretty solid. I mean, it also reminded me why I'm terrified to do Junkenstein's Revenge with you.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. So Goopy, though, you brought up a really good point with Orisa. I love her too. I think she's such a unique character, not just in the way she plays, but the way that she is designed. Like she's a horse. It's incredible. Why do you love Orisa so much, Goopy?
I just love Orisa because, so as a main tank player, it's kind of like what we were just talking about. You never get to deal top damage. You never get to get gold elims, all these wonderful things, unless you're as skilled as Thibble. But with Orisa, you sometimes can. You can set up your shield. Her gun does a ton of damage, especially with her like reinforced deal on. I don't know what it's called. I should.
Fortify.
That's it. But it's just really a great ability, and I think that as we see some of these meta changes coming in, I actually think Orisa is going to be really good. Back to like spam compositions with like Soldier McCree shooting into a diving Winston or something. I think Orisa is going to be a great defense against that. To have Fortify up, have a movable shield. So I really like her character a lot, but I also just think she's going to be really good in the upcoming meta. So I'll be interested to see how teams use her for anti-dive, which I think is kind of going to come back in, but we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
From a lore perspective and a mechanical perspective, Orisa was built to counter Doomfist. And boy, is he really annoying right now and just terrible. But I play Orisa, and for a second, I'm not so sad. And I can press shift, and the Doomfist wastes all his cooldowns on me, and then I pull him right in front of my gun. And it's great. And then I'm happy. So yes, I'm agreeing with you. I love Orisa very much.
I mean, you said one of my favorite words, lore. I gotta find a way to get this in here next time. Oh my gosh. But with Orisa, she's just, I love the interaction she also has with all of the other tank mains. Like Reinhardt, she's like, Reinhardt, I have been watching videos of your battles, and she's so inspired. Or Zarya, my halt ability is just like your graviton surge, and Zarya's like, nah.
Zarya's like, don't talk to me.
Get away from me,
horse thing.
Oh.
So she's right. Sorry, it's just how it is.
Oh my gosh. And she has some of the best like emotes in game. That puppy.
Oh my god.
Like the puppy. Incredible. I almost bought real loot boxes. Last Winter Wonderland event. I needed that so bad. Thankfully I got it and didn't lose my money, but it would have been worth it.
You know what would be really cool?
What?
Is if they released a version of that emote, but instead of the puppy, she's just holding a little Pachimari.
No.
Hire me.
That Pachimari is just MVP right now.
Getting a lot of mileage out of him, honestly. I paid a good amount of money for him, actually. He was not cheap. So, yes, I will use him as a set piece.
I think it's the only thing that's keeping me like nice to you right now. Like that little Pachimari.
I have to remember
that's the only thing.
It's my defensive talisman. I'm just like,
That's right. Oh gosh. But we've been pretty lucky at WatchHaus. We all, believe it or not, we all actually do get along. Maybe speaking for myself, you guys are being really quiet.
No, I have nothing to say. No.
Oh, okay.
It's good.
So just to kind of close up tonight, I'd like to talk about kind of how Overwatch has gotten into our real lives, how people who we love and care about, or new friends who we've connected with, just kind of telling stories about what Overwatch has done for us. We've all been pretty lucky. So, who wants to start?
Talk. We've already discussed at length, like the road to us being here on a talk show together in front of an audience. But I think something I can definitely talk about lately has been getting everybody else around me into Overwatch.
Yeah.
Or at least trying, because boy, does it not always work. My dad, bless him, doesn't know a microwave from a hairdryer. Just like he works in a hospital and that's all he knows. He's like SpongeBob in that one episode. He's like fine dining and breathing. That's my dad, right? So when I talk about this game with like 30 different people in it, he's like, stop, done already. Had a lot more luck with my girlfriend, who is only learning through hearing my communication in scrims. So she knows about monkey, 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 and piggy, piggy, piggy. And she's like, I don't know who those are, but they sound like very important people because you're constantly screaming about them.
Piggy, piggy, piggy.
And yeah, because I don't like saying hog, hog, hog.
Okay, I was
weird reset of the sound in your mouth. But piggy, 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 you can bounce that back and forth as much as you want. Until
can't do it.
I call him piggy, piggy, piggy. And I play a lot of main tank, so I go monkey, 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 diva, diva, diva,
the three is
so on and so forth. Right? Yeah, we do comms until things die. Remember, my strategy is run in there and make sure they die before me. So my comms are equally chaotic and ultimately. So she's learning through that. She's like, I don't know. You say their names a lot, so I know those ones are more important. I don't ever hear you saying Torb. I'm like, oh, you will. You will hear in like the next 2 weeks. You'll hear a lot of that one. So it's interesting to see how she's like gotten into that. We were watching some games together last season. She was like, oh, when they did the section where they were all like mic'd up and you could hear them talk, it sounded like you. It's like, no, those guys sound like they know what they're doing. I sound like I'm screeching. It's very different. But it's still fun to kind of like incorporate like their hearing semi-hardly professional comms and learning that way. I don't know. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. I can go next.
Yeah, you go.
Yes, I will go next. I just saw it. There it is. So for me, I kind of going off what Thibble said, my wife has kind of gotten into Overwatch just from watching me play, not so much seeing like or hearing my comms, but just watching the game. And she's a pediatric nurse, best nurse in the world. And so it's helped her with her patient interactions like a ton. Like she establishes rapport with families instantly when she's able to bring up like, yeah, like who do you play on Overwatch? And she's able to like actually know what the teenage boys are talking about when they say like, yeah, I play Piggy, Piggy, Piggy. And he's like, oh yeah, I know what that is. Yeah, it's great. So, yeah, like that's been a really cool thing. I think it's cool to see Overwatch help someone in a like medical field do their job better. I just think that's a really cool thing in and of itself. And then I think just the other thing is just friends for me. I have a lot of friends who are avid sports fans, some of which I've gotten into Overwatch League and Overwatch, the Dingo Baby being one of them. But there are some friends who really got into season 1 and really love it. I have some friends that I still debate about it, whether it should be like a sport or not and all these other debates like all the time. But a lot of people have just jumped on board and have found it to be this really cool, awesome thing. So it's been a cool kind of experience for me sharing it with people I love. And so hope to continue to do that as we go forward.
Both of those stories are so sweet. I'm single. I don't have.
Let me bring you right back down to earth there.
All right, you couldn't tell. Anyways, but my parents are lovely. I love my parents. Oh, sorry, I got sad. Anyways, though, so I would watch Overwatch League, and I recently graduated from college. So while I've been looking for jobs in esports, I've been watching lots of Overwatch League reruns when I'm feeling blue that I don't have a job yet, which I will soon, I hope. This is getting way too real. I'm sorry, guys.
Dude, stop. We're having fun.
I know. I I need like.
I have nothing. I'm alone. Here.
Thank you. I have the Pachimari.
More Pachimari. More
gosh.
Pachimari. Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
But anyways, my parents watch Overwatch with me. Let's go back to the happy stuff. And as you did know earlier from tonight, they love Sir Hog. And it was interesting at first. They were confused. My dad has motion sickness, but he was somehow able to watch Overwatch League still. And him being a former professional soccer player was really interested in the whole athletics kind of sporting idea of playing video games. So he would ask me a lot about the meta. He would ask about very in-depth patch changes, strategies. And what was really interesting is that it helped me as a caster because I had to explain things very, practically perfectly for my parents to have even a fathom of an idea of what was going on at first. And to this day, now my dad's like debating about just why goats is better with this healer now. So now he's an expert, which is pretty incredible. And my mom loves the blue lady. She thinks she's really, really cute. So
she's the smug purple lady. Okay.
Oh, excuse me. Right. I'll get it right. I'll make sure that she knows that. But no, it's Overwatch being as big as it is has allowed my my parents to kind of understand why esports is so important to me. It's helped me find a family away from my family, if that makes sense. So I'm really excited to go to BlizzCon because I'll be able to reunite with all of these amazing people I've met through this game. So I got a little real there. Sorry. But no, this game means it means everything to me. So I'm lucky I get to share this time with you guys. So thank you.
Oh, nice. Stories in the chat about I taught my mom how to read the kill feed so she can tell which team is winning.
Yeah,
already halfway there to the a paid analyst gig, right there. That's 50% of what you need.
That's wonderful.
You're just getting your mom a job. Except I want that to be my job, so please stop doing it. Thank you. But yeah, no, it's cool that this is bleeding into our real lives. When I did a lot of raiding in World of Warcraft, I would call that not real life. So if I couldn't make a raid, I'd be like, oh, sorry, I have real life stuff, like a job or a girlfriend or school or whatever. And I still do that sometimes with Overwatch, but lately Overwatch has been real life stuff for me. This is my job and I drive places for this. This is now when I'm at my other normal jobs, working at Jamba Juice and stuff, I'll be like, oh, sorry, I got real life stuff. And my boss, of course, is furious about that. And he's just like, what? This is not real life to you? And I'm like, I didn't say that. Goodbye. And then I leave. So, yeah, no, it's becoming real. And that's good and scary, but mostly good. Mostly.
Yeah. I think another cool thing, I think Liz mentioned it in the chat, is Gigery and her effect on the world and esports. I think there's so often this stigma in athletics or sports that it's this male dominated thing in general, and that's a big deal in esports as well. And so it's been really cool to see Gigery take this really this great leadership role. She's kind of the poster child right now for women in the Overwatch League and in esports, and she's inspired a ton of girls to play the game. Women are such a huge part of the Overwatch community and of the esports community at large. So it's cool to see, even if it's just one person right now, that's a hell of a lot better than zero. I mean, at the end of the day. So I really hope we'll see more women come up through contenders or whether it's the college scene or whatever it is and go to pros. But that's just a really cool thing as well. So hope to see more of that. And Katrina's written a lot about that too. So
I was going to say, and there are plenty of female content creators.
Yeah.
It's always good to see. I think there's one over there somewhere. We've got tons. There's lots of good ones, even though a bunch of them just got fired right now. Rest in peace, Overwatch Wire. Speaking of, there's some news actually that I kind of forgot to bring up. Overwatch Wire was shut down a couple days ago. Yeah. All their stuff is being taken down very soon.
It's crazy.
Those guys were good at what they do. So if you want to go read, they've got cool
I think we are back.
Let's see.
Are we back?
Are we back on?
Can you
Mic
hear
check.
us? Yay!
There we go. Hi.
So we were just, I was just getting feels, and I guess Twitch was overwhelmed.
Couldn't handle it. All the emotional baggage. Best duos. We're here.
It's all the news. There's just too much.
Well,
The internet can't handle all this news that we're dropping. That last one about Overwatch Wire, that tipped the scale.
It's
It was just like,
Illuminati for sure. Illuminati confirmed.
But speaking of best duos, thank you to both of these guys for being phenomenal as usual. And thank you all who watch at home. You make it so much fun to talk about. So much Overwatch. I mean, it would have been fun if it was just the three of us, but when we have all of you here, subscribing to get Goopy a jersey, let's see what our next hashtag mission is going to be. It'll be fun.
It's get Katrina a date.
Yeah.
That's the next hashtag.
It was being
It's
spammed.
already in the chat. It's already there.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my gosh. All right. He better be
You're
nice. And Overwatch League. I'm like blushing, guys. Overwatch League starts on Valentine's Day. Anyways. Good night. Good night.
good stop.
Next episode, we might be doing the stream of the Junkensteins thing, so get pumped for that potentially. Yep. We also are going to do our top DPS duos, which will be super fun, and a lot of other awesome, crazy stuff next week. Who knows? We might have an interview. We may not. We may do some. It's going to be awesome no matter what, though.
I'm trying for interviews, so if you have suggestions, always send them to us.
Yeah.
No matter what, we'll probably be doing some Junkensteins, whether or not that's streamed or we just publish to YouTube. Don't know yet. We'll figure that out. We'll get it to you somehow. More segment stuff. Lots more news will definitely come between now and next Tuesday regarding signings and tradings and releases and all that stuff. We will talk about all of those, and we will always be the best place for you to go to hear about Overwatch ever.
And thank you to those concerned about my job. Thankfully, I will have some exciting news in the next coming weeks, so keep an eye out on that. Yeah, on that note, thank you to everyone for watching. I hope you have a great night and look forward to some even more fun content coming from WatchHaus next week. Bye-bye.
See ya.
If you liked that, hit the subscribe button for more interviews and other great sports and esports content. Make sure to also like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to stay up to date on all the news from your favorite sports and esports players and teams. From our house to yours.